we've got a situation. The chicks are coming and we're not ready. What you doing, Andy?
Making a window.
So this is our chicken brooder. Not ready for the chicks yet.
Used to be a horse stall.
It used to be a horse stall. So what Andy's doing over there is there's no natural light that is in this stall at all. So we are going to use this window and put it there so that the chick actually gets some natural light.
Wave. Smile. Andy.
So here's what it looks like in here now. Oh, that's so much brighter.
It's more or less for their health and happiness, because who likes being locked in a dark cellar?
Hey guys, don't mind me. Like I said just a little bit ago, the chickens are coming. The chicks actually are coming probably tomorrow. We are not ready. So what I am doing while the smallest one naps and the biggest one is still at school is I'm gonna go clean out the brooder that Andy was putting the window in last night. Now this video is gonna be a couple days in the making. Just as we do our final steps for the chicks. Right now this year we're kind of on a deadline with our first batch of chicks for meat birds on when we can get them, have to have them processed by because of some things we have going on this summer. So let's go clean out that brooder. So that's what we need to take out, is that pile of old manure and shavings. We're going to put it over in the compost pile. I can already tell you this looks so much better with the window in here. There's just so much more light. So this is what it looks like from the outside. We are going to paint the wood, but we are supposed to get a bad thunderstorm within the next couple hours. So right now my goal is just to get the brooder cleaned out and have that taken care of. Can you hear Cooper outside? So one thing I will say is the reason why the pile is so big, even though we used to have them in a smaller space, we're still trying to decide before they get here tomorrow whether or not we are going to put them in a smaller space again or just kind of let them roam around this whole area. We are getting only 100 chicks this time. But as they get bigger, before we can move them outside at like 2.5 weeks old, they will get a decent size since we're getting some Cornish cross. but we do a deep bedding system over like a year and a half worth. So we put down fresh bedding, you know, they soil it, we put down more fresh bedding, they soil it, and kind of go through that process until we have a few inches worth, and then we clean it out and kind of start over. So now we'll go throw it back on the compost pile. Normally, we would use the lawn tractor with the wagon. However, one of the tires on the lawn tractor is flat, and I'd have to haul out our Halsey's working air compressor. Let that pressurize, attempt to blow up the tire only part way, and then haul it all around, and then you know, do all that stuff. I don't really have the time. Pardon the sweat and the way that I look, but this just goes to show you that homesteading is not always glamorous. Sometimes you just gotta sweat. And the fact that it's 70 degrees and humid because we must have a pretty bad thunderstorm coming. And and it hasn't been humid yet this year. Actually, we've barely had, yesterday it hit 80 degrees. Hold the phone. It was 80 degrees April 30th in Minnesota. Anyway, so now what I'm going to do is get the bedding set up in the brooder space, so that's all ready to go. Chances are our post office typically calls around 9:30 a.m. with the chicks. I know some post offices call earlier than that. Thankfully ours doesn't. But so what I have here in my wheelbarrow is the bedding I'm going to put down. I'll show you what that looks like, but don't use the super fine shavings. You want to get the biggest shavings you can find at your local farm store. The little shavings, the chicks, since they don't have any mama interaction, they will try to eat the tiny shavings and they will choke and die. And you don't want to lose all your meat chicks right away. There is some mortality, but you don't want to lose them right away because you chose the wrong bedding. Next, I have some chick starter. I just grabbed a bag quick at our farm store. We usually use like 1 or 2 bags of chick starter depending upon how many chicks we have. And then we just switch them to meat maker after that, or a version of that. And then I also have some nice little starter feeders. We picked these up. Actually, I'm not quite sure. We got them at a store that was going out of business. That we happened to stop in. It was a farm store of some sort. And we thought this would just be really great to start chicks with, since we do it a couple times a year, and then we have 2 separate feeders that are small enough for them. So we'll go ahead and get the shavings laid out. So when you put down the shavings for brand new chicks, you don't want it to be super thick, but you want to be able to make sure that you cover the ground enough. So since I'm covering a big enough area, now we use this to block it. They will eventually be able to jump over that, so this just kind of is an additional barrier. We do have a heat lamp here. Make sure at least for the first week, especially if it's going to be cool at night, you actually have a heat bulb in it. Once they start feathering out a little bit, you can switch it to like a regular light bulb, so at least create some heat in here, but by having our window in here now, that will definitely help. And then I set the feeders up over here, and I will grab a water and set it on there. I'll probably grab some 2x4s to put underneath the feeders, just so they don't sink into the feed. But overall, there is our brooder for now. All right, so I have the shavings all set up in the brooder space, and I have pretty much everything set up in there except for the water. I need to get that, and I need to find the heat lamp bulb. But one thing I will tell you about the shavings is you want it to be enough, at least when you first get the chicks, that it at least just covers the ground, maybe half an inch, enough that they will be comfortable when they're sleeping, but not too much that they're going to get lost in there. We have made that mistake a couple times. The chicks will get lost in the bedding, and then they can't find the water or the feed, and then they will pass away. All right, so the brooder is all set for the chicks. Should be here tomorrow, might be here on Thursday. All right, guys, so that is how you set up your brooder. Quick turnaround time. If you are just, time got away from you and you need to set up really quick because they're coming tomorrow or today, or you're just not quite sure what to do. If you did enjoy the video and you found it helpful and informative, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to follow along for the next steps on what to do when your chicks arrive and how to continue to maintain them, and what do you do when you move them out to the chicken tractor, how do you do that, and just keep your chicks as stress less as possible, go ahead and follow along. See you in the next one, guys. Bye.